The first pipeline is bank repossession liquidators. When someone defaults on a boat loan, the lender doesn't want the boat. A bank has no use for a 42-foot trawler sitting in a Florida marina. So they hand it to a specialist liquidator whose only job is to convert it back into cash. Fast. The biggest names in this space have handled tens of thousands of vessels, a mix of bank repos, foreclosures, and government-seized boats. Industry sites advertising repossessed, inventory routinely, claim savings of 50% or more off-market price. The underlying logic is sound. The seller is a bank. The bank wants its loan balance back, not the boat's full retail value. The boat sells for what the room will pay on that particular day, and the room is usually very small. But there's a catch, and it matters enormously. Think about the psychology of repossession. An owner who knows the bank is coming for the boat stops spending money on it months before it's seized. No oil changes, no bottom paint, no winterizing. Veteran buyers will tell you bluntly, once an owner expects repossession, care stops completely. A repo is not a boat that's 50% off. It's a boat that's 50% off with an unknown repair bill attached. Hold that thought, because we'll come back to it. The second pipeline is government auctions, and this is where the system gets genuinely strange. The federal government is constantly disposing of boats, and they come from three main streams. The General Services Administration sells surplus government vessels, including ex-military and ex-agency boats. The U.S. Treasury sells boats forfeited for tax evasion and other federal violations, and the U.S. Marshals Service sells property seized in Department of Justice cases, and which is why Marshals auctions are famous for featuring luxury, yachts that used to belong to people who are now in federal prison. Many of these government sales have no reserve price at all. No reserve means the boat sells for whatever the highest bid is. Period. Even if that bid is insulting. There's a story documented on boating forums by people who were there, of a friend who bought a 74-foot wooden Navy training vessel at a surplus sale in excellent condition, everything working, for $10,000. The fuel tanks were full when he took delivery. He sold off some of the surplus, long-range radar equipment that came with the boat, and recovered his entire purchase price from the electronics alone. He effectively got a 74-foot ship for free. Is that a typical outcome? No. That's the lottery ticket version. But it tells you something true about this market. At the bottom of the government disposal pipeline, price and value become almost completely disconnected.
Because the government's goal isn't to get fair market value?
The government's goal is to make the boat go away. The third pipeline is my personal favorite, because it's the most overlooked. Marina lien sales and abandoned vessel auctions. Here's how it works. When a boat owner stops paying slip fees, the marina or port authority eventually gets a legal lien on the vessel after a notice period. They're allowed to auction the boat to recover the unpaid storage. These sales happen at the local level: ports, harbor departments, sheriff's marine units, city marinas, and they are advertised about as loudly as a zoning hearing. The pricing logic here is unlike anything else in the boat market. The minimum bid at a lien sale isn't based on the boat's value. It's based on the debt, the unpaid slip fees, the towing charge, the storage costs. That's why you see opening bids calculated to the dollar. A number like $1,000, $273. The port just wants its money back. If the boat happens to be worth 30 times the debt, that gap is yours. The fourth pipeline is insurance salvage. Hurricane boats, totaled vessels, storm-damaged hulls. Every hurricane season, thousands of boats get damaged, and insurance companies total them the same way they total cars. Here's what most people don't understand. A total loss does not mean a destroyed boat. It means the estimated repair cost exceeded a percentage threshold of the insured value. A boat can be totaled for cosmetic damage, a hole above the waterline, or simply because labor rates in a disaster zone spiked after the storm. Once it's declared a total loss, the insurer hands it to a liquidator whose job is to get whatever price the market will pay. After major hurricanes, entire acres of boats end up in salvage yards, million-dollar yachts sitting in rows, waiting to be auctioned as fixer-uppers or parts donors. This channel has the deepest discounts of all five. It also has the sharpest teeth. Two words that will follow that boat forever: salvage title. A salvage brand can affect your ability to insure the vessel, your ability to finance it, and your resale value down the road. Some marinas can refuse you a slip. Lenders may reject salvage title boats entirely. Insurers often exclude coverage unless you can document professional repairs. A hurricane boat can absolutely be the deal of a lifetime, but you are buying a project with paperwork consequences, not a discount on a normal boat. The fifth pipeline is ex-commercial vessels, working boats retired from fishing fleets, charter operations and coastal trade. Commercial operators have no sentimental attachment to their boats. When a vessel stops making economic sense, it goes. And because the buyers for these boats are usually other commercial operators, people who need specific certifications and equipment, the recreational buyer who shows up with cash often faces almost no competition at all. These boats are built to survive conditions that would terrify a recreational hull, but a commercial conversion is not a discounted yacht. It's a construction project that floats. The people who succeed at them tend to be welders, mechanics, and the kind of person who finds the phrase "Mauer 5 years of weekends" genuinely appealing. So those are the 5 pipelines: bank repos, government auctions, marina lien sales, insurance salvage, ex-commercial boats. Now let's talk about how a real purchase actually works. Because this is where most people get burned before they ever place a bid. Finding the auctions is actually the easy part. GovDeals is the practical front door. Hundreds of government agencies list surplus there daily, including boats, searchable by zip code. The Treasury's vessel auctions run monthly with free online registration. For repos, the major liquidators publish their inventory openly. For lien sales, ports and marinas are legally required to publish notice. Check every Port Authority website within driving distance, and the legal notices section of local papers. The boats nobody finds are the boats nobody bids on. The preview is non-negotiable. Almost every one of these auctions offers an inspection, window by appointment at ports, preview days at liquidators, yard visits at salvage auctions. Every boat is sold as is, where is all faults. No warranties, no returns. If you cannot physically see the boat, or send someone qualified to see it, you are not buying a boat. You are buying a photograph. Then there's the bid math, and this is the part that separates the people who win at this from the people who don't. For any repo or auction boat, assume the worst about everything you cannot verify. Assume the engines need to be replaced. Then do this calculation. Take the fair market value of that boat in good condition, what it would sell for through a broker. Subtract the full cost of a repower, which on a diesel trawler can run $20,000 to $40,000. Take what's left and divide by 2. That number is your maximum bid, not a starting point, a ceiling. If a trawler is worth $150,000 in good shape, and a repower costs $40,000, you're looking at $110,000 divided by 2. $55,000 absolute maximum. That's how a $40,000 bid on a $150,000 boat stops being a fantasy and starts being the correct price. For the risk you're absorbing, the discount isn't free money. The discount is your payment for taking on the unknown. And that brings us to the part of this that matters more than everything else. The mistake that turns these opportunities into sinkholes. The mistake is believing the purchase price is the price. Experienced buyers have a concept called the all-in budget. The real cost of a boat is the total investment required to buy it and make it safe, reliable, and ready for how you intend to use it. That includes the hammer price, the buyer's premium, taxes, the survey, the haul-out, transport, first-year insurance, and then the refit, fixing the known faults, fixing the surprise faults, and replacing every piece of aged-out gear. New owners routinely spend months trying to reach the day they actually leave the dock. Some of them never leave the dock at all. The defense against this is boring, and it costs less than your first month of slip fees. A pre-purchase marine survey, done by an independent surveyor who works for you and nobody else. On a 30-foot boat, somewhere between $600 and $1,500. On a larger trawler, more. It is the single highest leverage money you will spend in this entire process. A surveyor finds the things that don't show up on a sunny preview day. Hull delamination, corroded stringers, electrical systems 1 spark away from a fire. A boat can look beautiful at the dock, start cleanly, run smoothly, and still be hiding a 5-figure problem behind an interior panel. Where auctions don't allow a full survey before bidding, you price that blindness into your bid using the formula we just covered, and you walk into the preview with a flashlight, a moisture meter, and someone who knows diesels. There's one more layer, the paperwork. Government sales through the marshals. Service typically strip the liens and hand you a clean title, one of the best features of that particular pipeline. But lien sales and private auctions vary by state, and a boat with a clouded title or an undocumented salvage brand can become a legal problem that outlasts the boat itself. Verify the title situation before you bid, not after. And the cost of getting this wrong isn't just personal, it's documented. Investigative reporters in the Pacific Northwest traced the federal vessel, disposal pipeline, and found at least 37 derelict boats rotting in Washington, and Oregon waterways, boats that were once property of the Navy, the Coast Guard, or another federal agency, sold at auction to buyers who couldn't handle them, and eventually abandoned. Cleaning up those former government boats has cost those two states more than $21 million. One vessel alone racked up nearly $4 million in public cleanup costs. Every one of those disasters started with someone who saw the discount and didn't do the math. So here's the honest picture. This market exists because the sellers, banks, governments, ports, insurance companies want disposal, not top dollar, and it stays invisible because the buyers who could compete with you are mostly too disorganized to register on Gov deals, too busy to drive to a preview on a Tuesday morning, or too impatient to wait for the right boat. Your edge has nothing to do with connections or capital. It's simpler than that. You'll watch listings for months instead of jumping at the first boat. You'll inspect everything. You'll assume dead engines and bid accordingly. You'll budget the all-in number, not the hammer price. And you'll be completely willing to walk away from 49 boats to find the one where the math actually works. Do that, and a $150,000 boat bought for $40, with 30 more in the refit, becomes a $70,000 boat worth more than twice that the day it goes back in the water. The boats are out there right now, in impound yards and storage lots and forgotten slips, waiting for the one bidder who actually shows up. The only question is whether that bidder is going to be you.